Coming up today in the Leipzig Loko with Lokomotive Leipzig, we are going to try and win our third trophy in as many competitive games as we take on the league winners Borussia Dortmund in the Supercup, and off the back of that, we start the Bundesliga season against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 87 of the Leipzig Loko with Lokomotive Leipzig here on Sean Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and coming up today we do start the 9th season of the save. First up is the Supercup, us the DFB Pokal winners. We take on Borussia Dortmund, the Bundesliga winners, and off the back of a first round tie in the DFB Pokal, which we should be winning against a team who aren't even in the regional Liga, we host Borussia Mönchengladbach in that Bundesliga opener. So if you're looking forward to that coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, but we've just gone forward a few days from where we did leave things at the end of yesterday's episode. It was a transfer special where we actually spent quite a bit of money. There you can see a couple of loans that might be in the works, but there's the business that we did do. If you missed the episode where I go into detail with what I was thinking with each of these transfers, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. As you can see, there's a couple of notable names who did join the club going into this season, and also a couple of notable names that did leave. Overall though, our net spend is around about £39 million, and our first team going to the start of the season does look just a little bit different. In particular, in goal at centre-back, usually at left-back, albeit one of our new signings is only recommended for 45 minutes in Andrew Pittman. And also in terms of attack, that attacking midfield is very, very different looking. So if you missed that episode and want me to go into more detail about those transfers that we did make, that is the one for you. But we've only gone forward a few days off the back of that and are going to take on Borussia Dortmund in this season opener. I suppose the best gauge on our chances for this upcoming season is the season preview, and this is the highest that we've been ever since we have come up to the top tier. We were around about 16th before we got stuck into those transfers in yesterday's episode, just above of those newly promoted teams in Hamburg, Werder Bremen and Dynamo Dresden. But now we are ranked 12th on the table, and at 50-1 odds we have won league titles before, albeit in lower divisions at longer odds than that. So I'm hopeful we yet again will be right in the fight for some European football come the end of this season. Also, of course, we should be in with a chance in the Europa League as well. But Borussia Dortmund are the reigning Bundesliga champions. As you can see, they've got a couple of players in that Dream 11, which is mostly made up of FC Bayern players. But Dortmund, obviously, as I said, they come to this one as the Bundesliga champions, and their team looking pretty similar to the one that they were putting out for most of last season, albeit we actually have a decent record against these guys. The first time that we do play them each season, we usually win that, but then go on to lose the second game, albeit all of those games were in the Bundesliga. So hopefully we can kick off the season nicely here and pick up the Super Cup at Lokomotive Leipzig for the first time in the club's history. And it will be interesting to see how some of these new signings do get on in their first competitive outing for the club as well. We are putting out pretty close to our first choice 11 for this game. Obviously, as I said, with Pittman only being recommended for 45 minutes, it does mean that Ryan will start at left back. Also, Manuel is only recommended for 45 as well, off the back of a pre-season injury. Also, Leroy Sané, we are going to start him over Mikel Mastis. Both players are actually on squad player contracts, so we can just pick the player with better attributes, and Leroy Sané is definitely that player. Those wings now do look very, very interesting with both Sané as well as Matthias Tell. There's Dortmund. They've still got the likes of Guedes and Yusufa Makoko in that lineup. So those are definitely a couple of players that we do need to worry about. Of course, the first time we played them, when we came up to the Bundesliga, they were both out injured, and we picked up a famous win in our first game back in the top division. Since then, a little bit to and fro, but in a pre-season game, this one, of course, a couple of weeks out from the start of the actual Bundesliga season, helped out by the fact that our first round of the DFB Pokal does look very, very winnable. We might even put out a full rotation for that game before we come back and do take on Borussia Mönchengladbach. But hopefully, we're taking this game a little bit more seriously than Borussia Dortmund are so far, about 15 minutes in, and it's a pretty even game. We've got more shots off, but Dortmund have actually got one on target as we make our way towards halfway through this first half, and the first highlight is in our favour today. We are in the grey Dortmund in the yellow. We have the ball here down this right-hand side. Blome floats that in. It's terrible work from the Dortmund goalkeeper. Comes out for it, doesn't get there. And big Nicolo Amadori, as we know, so good in the air, gets to that one before the goalkeeper. It's kind of similar to the goal that we scored in that Conference League final, apart from the fact that this time the goalkeeper didn't try and punch it. Instead, he just did absolutely nothing. And Amadori this time gets on the end of it, puts it away top left corner. And with the first highlight in the game, it's a 1-0 lead that we do get here around about halfway through the first half. Hopefully, we can hold on to this and make it 3 trophies in as many competitive games here at Lokomotive Leipzig, of course, off the back of the DFB Pokal win over Bayern Munich at the end of last week. And off the back of that, we did also pick up the Conference League as well. So at the moment, in a bit of a trophy collecting phase here at Lokomotive Leipzig, albeit that is going to end off the back of this game because we've got no more trophy games coming up for a long while yet. But that was the only highlight of the first half. And we go into the sheds with a 1-0 lead. Dortmund are looking a little bit more threatening with 3 shots on target, but thankfully, we made ours count. Not good work there from Kobel in goal for Borussia Dortmund, and we have a 1-0 lead. Matthias Tell is on a 6.4, but I think we might just leave him out there for the moment. I don't think we need to actually make any changes here at halftime. A couple of players that we could give some game time to during the second half, but the way that this is going at the moment, I don't think we need to react too much and make any changes for the sake of it. So hopefully, we'll just tell the guys here that they're doing well. Hopefully they can keep it up and keep working hard, and we'll see what happens here during the second half. An early free kick, our new centre-back, and Osvaldo on the ball, and he plays that one forward. And now we get on the attack here through Sika, down that right-hand side, squares that one for Sane. He goes down, no penalty, and it's actually a poor touch there from Ryan, and it is Guedes now with a chance on the counter-attack for Borussia Dortmund. Makes his way inside the box, but thankfully takes on a shot from a very tight angle that does not test Ricardo San Jose in goal, and we hold on to our 1-0 lead, albeit only a few minutes later. And it looks like Dortmund again might be on the attack. San Jose pumps that one deep. Unfortunately, Amadori can't win it, and Dortmund start to make their way inside our half. Mumin on the attack on a yellow card, but Guedes does get in behind, squares that one for Wilson, who was blamed for that first goal, even though the goalkeeper, I thought, was a lot more at fault. But not too happy actually with the clearance there from San Jose. Thought we should be distributing with short kicks. That was definitely not one of those, so we'll just make sure he also distributes to fullbacks if the centre-back option is not on. But thankfully, Dortmund so far not hitting the target when it does count, albeit a free kick here yet again. It is Wilson. What can he do? No doubt we'll be looking for that top right corner. That one does come off the post, but thankfully we just scramble it away enough there. Amadori tries to control it, but Dortmund back on the attack. Makoko there surely would have been offside, but they are still on the attack. Thankfully, Hurtado heads that one away, and Leroy Sané can hopefully get us on the attack and deal with that danger. Interesting tackle, but thankfully Leroy does keep hold of that ball, and I think off the back of that might be time for us to take off a couple of players who are struggling just a little bit. We'll bring on Pittman to get some match fitness under him. Also Osvaldo on a 6.4, so Billy Camillo can come on for him. Our centre-back partnership from last season, and Matthias Tell, one of our biggest transfers in the off-season, only on a 6.4, so Tunde Musa can come on for him as well. Might just take Tell a little bit of time maybe to get used to our system, but he did look very well suited to that inside forward on attack. But at the moment, despite the fact we've done very little off the back of that goal, which was scored through Amadori, we do still have that 1-0 lead. Just checking in on player fitness with 20 minutes left, and I'm thinking that our new centre attacking midfielder there, and Spazajevic, is on a 6.5, so we might bring on Jordan Xerxes in his place with 20 minutes left, and I think we can just wait a few more minutes till we make our last substitution, albeit Nicolo Amadori off the back of that one is now on an orange injury, so we'll play things safe, especially as he probably won't be playing in the first round of the DFB Pokal, so our new signing Caseta can come on for him, our homegrown striker. There will be all our subs used, still up 1-0, but Dortmund definitely have had the better of things in the second half, but thankfully we're not seeing too much of it, albeit as I say that, there is a highlight. We try and pump that one deep through San Jose for our new striker. Good tackle there from Blome, but unfortunately about 3 players there trying to mark them, and there's a chance there for Dortmund on the counter-attack. Good tackle there from Sika. Vayner on the ball. It's put back into the mixer there. Thankfully, Guedes with a shot straight at San Jose, who'd already made a save. So good work there from our goalkeeper to keep it at 1-0 in our favour. Off the back of that, we'll just drop the tempo slightly and also time waste a little bit. It would be nice to pick up this trophy at the first time of asking. Not too sure we'll get many more chances. Also, with about 5 minutes left, we'll chuck Escobar as a DLP on defence. So both our defensive midfielders are on defend. Dortmund really coming out strong here in the second half, high XG, but thankfully haven't done anything with it. And with our first game of the new season, we make it 3 trophies in a row and we pick up the DFL Super Cup. And that is a very good start to the season. Not too sure if we're going to win another trophy this season. Hopefully we will, but it might be a bit unlikely, especially stepping up from the Conference League to the Europa League this season. But that is a good start, encouraging start, being the Bundesliga champions in our first game of the season, especially because we didn't actually play that well off the back of the first 25 or so minutes. But thankfully that goal through Amadori off the back of a bit of a poor read from Kobel in goal for Borussia Dortmund does mean we start the season with a Super Cup win. We'll come back shortly, maybe show you guys highlights of our first round in the DFB Pokal before we start the Bundesliga season, hosting Borussia Mönchengladbach. And we are back about to get stuck into our first game of the Bundesliga season, but before then we did play our first round of the DFB Pokal. It was with a fully rotated team in Kusita. Ended an 8-game goal drought. Wasn't aware of that before we signed him from Everton, but he opened the scoring. Off the back of that, a couple of early contenders for goals of the season. Kusita here with an absolute rifle from just outside the box into that top right corner, and then Ortag came up from our B team in this game to play right back because unfortunately Vochin did pick up an injury, and what a strike that is from just outside the box. Did have a bit of help from the post, but still made its way into the back of the net. Off the back of that, we did make it 4-0 heading in to half-time this time through Jordan Xerxes, continuing his good form from late last season. So unsurprisingly, we are through to the next round, but also this goal again from Ortag. This time, another mistake from the goalkeeper, it has to be said. Still not a bad effort though from that far out, but your goalkeeping effort there was not too good. But we are through to the second round of the DFB Pokal off the back of a 5-0 win. Thankfully, no injuries coming from that game, and Ortag doing a very good job playing in a position that he isn't really supposed to be playing. As you can see, he's usually a left back, but obviously with that injury to Vochin did mean someone had to play there. Alte would usually be our backup there if all our other centre backs are fit, because that's another position that he can cover. But seeing as he was going to start that game alongside Camillo, did think we could call up Ortag, and he did a very good job seeing us through to the next round of the DFB Pokal. Just at the draw for that, we will take on Goduffer from down in the 2 Bundesliga, but it has been a good start to the season apart from that injury to Cal Vochin. He is out with a twisted ankle for 7 days to 2 weeks, so it does mean that Alte will come onto the bench for this first game of the Bundesliga season, but hopefully we can continue our good form with that Dortmund win and that one in the DFB Pokal as we do take on Gladbach. These guys the last couple of seasons have struggled quite a bit in the Bundesliga. We'll just find the right tab here and see where they have been finishing. The season before last, it was 15th, and last season down in 12th, so they haven't really been threatening to get into European football like we have, but still, this could be an interesting matchup against the team who are expected to finish just above us on the Bundesliga table. They come into this one having picked up a win in that first round of the DFB Pokal as well. Their opposition were a team who also are not in a division here in German football, so I'm hopeful we can start off the season here nicely, especially being at home. Obviously, just that injury that we are worrying about to Cal Vochin, but thankfully, we do have the likes of Pittman now available for a full game, so because of that, he will be starting this game at left back instead of Ryan, but apart from that, it is the same team that stepped out for that Super Cup win over Borussia Dortmund, and as I said, Alte on the bench as our right back cover with no Vochin. A little bit harsh on Ortag off the back of that previous game, but Alte definitely a better player in that position, so we'll play things a bit more sensibly here and start our best team possible in this Bundesliga opener, but certainly encouraging their rotation players are playing that well in the cup games. If we can get a couple of games like that with our Europa League draw, whenever that comes through, maybe some of those players can also feature in that game, albeit Ortag probably won't be one of them, seeing as he is not homegrown club. But here are the team sheets for this first game of the season. There's ours, as we ran through before, just that one change with Pittman coming in for Ryan at left back. Here are Borussia Mönchengladbach. They are going with a 4-4-2. They've got Jada up front, who has been a bit of a headache for us in the past when we have taken him on, but he is the only player out there that I think we need to fear in this game. But the first highlight only a couple of minutes in is in favour of the away team. The last couple of seasons, we have started off the Bundesliga season with a win and early good work there from Matthias Tell to win that ball back for us. Zoran plays that one forward to Blomé. Now Sicker, that pass just enough on it to reach him. Now Leroy Sané tries to square that one for Amadori, but unfortunately not that good an idea, and unfortunately can't quite win it back there on that far side through Matthias Tel, and Gladbach here actually will get a chance on the counter-attack. Bad bite in there from Osvaldo. It's a decent save from San Jose, but it falls into the path of Osvaldo, and we start the season scoring an own goal in the Bundesliga, which is not ideal. And to be fair, Osvaldo wasn't too great in that highlight that we did just see, just bit in there a little bit, and it did allow Jata to find some free space. Good save there from San Jose, but unfortunately Osvaldo not in the right place off the back of that. It finds its way into the back of the net, and we are 1-0 down early in our Bundesliga opener, albeit shortly off the back of that, we do have a throw in here inside of the final third. Matthias Tel with a shot forces a good save there out of Mantle, so we are still up by 1-0, but we'll get a chance here through a set piece, as it looks like the Zoran might have picked up a little niggle, but we're going to go near post here, and Osvaldo gets on the end of that. He scored a couple of good goals in pre-season from that situation, and thankfully makes up for that own goal that he did just give up, and only 10 minutes later we do equalise, and hopefully from here can start to press on a little bit. I'm expecting with this team being a lot stronger than it was the last couple of seasons, even compared to last season, that hopefully we can beat these teams who are expected to be in and around us for the most part, especially in these home games in the Bundesliga last season. The thing that cost us really was the fact that we pretty much lost all our games to the teams who did end up finishing above us on the Bundesliga table. So in the end, we did end up being a quite predictable team. Just encourages that free kick was about to take place, and thankfully that does stop that highlight. So far it's been a pretty even game, but it does feel like potentially off the back of that goal to Osvaldo, we are starting to get on the front foot now. A free kick which Leroy Sané will try and put into that top left corner, but unfortunately just a little bit too high and a little bit too wide, and still locked up at 1-1 here as we do make our way towards halftime. A couple of players are on yellow cards, so they'll probably be coming off here at halftime, but that was a very even first half of the Bundesliga season. To be fair, that best chance that Borussia Mönchengladbach did have, though, was the own goal, so a little bit frustrating with how we did concede there, but thankfully Osvaldo down the other end made up for it with a goal from a set piece. Those players on yellow cards will be coming off, so Camillo can come on for Hurtado, and also Manuel will come on for Blomayer. That's a substitution you can probably expect to see quite a bit this season, as Blomayer is that balling midfielder, does tend to pick up a lot of yellow cards, as you've seen over the last couple of seasons, but those will be our only two substitutions. Hopefully our guys get into gear a little bit more in the second half. Sicker and Tel also on 6.4, so Matthias Tel, for all that money that we spent on him, not having the greatest start to life here at Lokomotive Leipzig, but we do have a highlight here early in the second half, and thankfully do keep the ball, albeit Escobar there does get robbed, and now it's a chance here for Borussia Mönchengladbach on the counter-attack. They find cancel there. A good chance here to see what Pittman can do in defence. San Jose with an iffy punch clear, but thankfully Bullet with that shot on the volley does go just over the bar, so a bit of an iffy moment there from San Jose, and off the back of that, Sicker has picked up a yellow card, so with that in mind, Faliu Alte can come on at right back. I think for the moment, Matthias Tel, we might just leave out there for a little bit longer, but to be fair, a little bit disappointed with his start. Now it's another chance here for Borussia Mönchengladbach, this time from a free kick. They're taking their time here on the ball, as Zoran now picks up a yellow card, so he might also be coming off in a couple of minutes' time. This time Jata with a chance, but thankfully, much like Sané, that one goes a bit too high and a bit too wide, but coming up to the hour mark, and I think it might now be time for us to make our last couple of subs. Zoran on that yellow card, Jordan Zirkzee off the back of a goal in that cup game can come on him, and also Tunde Musa for Matthias Tel. As I said, so far a little bit disappointing, our signing for £20 million up front, rising to just over 30, but obviously with the losses of Tom Gale, Racine Bullock and Luca Campanelli, did feel like we might need some more homegrown players going into this season. He was the best one available, so we did splash the cash on him. Hopefully that does turn out to be a decent transfer, but so far it's fair to say a bit underwhelming in our first couple of games. We're about to make our way inside the last 10 minutes of this one. Might be time for us to even maybe chuck Leroy Sané on attack, because he's also been a bit disappointing in this game. A couple of players now down to red hearts, but of course we have already used all our substitutions, so can't do too much about that. What we might do though is distribute to fullbacks again and see if that might help us create a bit more, if we can find the flanks a bit earlier out of our defence. And now it's a free kick here in our favour. Leroy Sané looking far post. Unfortunately, no one home, but thankfully good work there from Camillo to keep that ball for us. Now, Xerxes, nice one over the top there for Tunde Musa, but that time Mantle with a good save, looking for that top right corner. Couldn't quite find it. Maybe tell that's a chance that he would put away, but unfortunately, not a good start to his career here. So Musa did come on. Now, Sane takes his time over this corner, despite the fact there's only 5 minutes left again. Looks for Osvaldo, but unfortunately can't quite link up with him. Good work there from Xerxes, but can't quite win the ball back, and we're still locked up at 1-1. Might nearly be time for us to go attacking, albeit there is a free kick here with only 1 minute left. Billy Camillo will be on it. Can we create one good late chance to try and pinch a 2-1 win here in our season opener and keep this good record early in the season alive in the Bundesliga, as we have won our games mostly at the start of the season? Big chance again there for Tunde Musa. Good strike, but unfortunately the post that time does just deny him off the back of that. It is another corner. Can we find Osvaldo off the back of that? We'll go attacking all these 5 minutes of injury time, but we're going close here late through our substitution on the left wing, but unfortunately just not quite putting the ball in the back of the net. And that time Osvaldo can't quite get on the ball, still locked up at 1-1. And unfortunately, that looks like it's how it's going to finish in this Bundesliga opener. So we could end up actually not picking up that many points from our first couple of games, considering we take on some pretty good teams in tomorrow's episode, but still not a terrible result first up this season. A little bit frustrating that we did concede a goal for an own goal, but thankfully Osvaldo did make up for that not too long off the back of that from a set piece. Some good late chances there for Tunde Musa, but unfortunately it's a 1-1 draw, albeit to be fair against a team who were expected to finish just above us on the Bundesliga table, but it would be nice to pick up wins in these home games. It's an okay start to the Bundesliga season, a 1-1 draw at home against Borussia Mönchengladbach. So an okay start to the league season here at Lokomotive Leipzig, just a 1-1 draw there at home in that opening game against Borussia Mönchengladbach. As you can see, that does mean we are smack bang mid-table off the back of that first match week, but definitely too early to be reading anything into that table, albeit quite interesting to see that Dortmund won their opening game. They picked up a win over Hertha Berlin. Bayern Munich only drew, and that was away to Fortuna Düsseldorf. A good result there for Fortuna, but it's a solid start to the season. The win would have been nice, but unfortunately that own goal did prove costly, albeit off the back of this, we might sink down that table a little bit more because our next couple of games are quite tricky ones before transfer deadline day, and we'll come back for that in tomorrow's episode. But that will do it for this first gameplay one of Season 9. We pick up the Supercup over Borussia Dortmund, but then a 1-1 draw against Gladbach in our Bundesliga season opener. If you enjoyed that one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and have been enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. We'll come back tomorrow, as I said, for our next couple of games, because they are against some teams who did very well in the Bundesliga last season. First up, we take on Bayern Munich. They'll be a bit angry. They haven't won a trophy since the Super Cup last season now. That will be a tough one. And then we host Hoffenheim. Those guys, I believe, are in the Champions League this upcoming season. In fact, no, they must have just dropped below that top 4 last season. They are in the Europa League, but still, that is a team also expected to finish above us on the Bundesliga table. So I think we'll come back for those 2 games in tomorrow's episode. And also, if we do anything around transfer deadline day, we'll update you guys on that. We did loan out the likes of Carl Henson and Matty White from our B team during today's episode. Also, Nino Gurku featured in the Conference League last season is no longer at the club. He had a release clause triggered by Sandhausen of just over £500,000, but to be fair, wasn't really a player who was worth that much money. But it does mean in terms of our transfer budget, we do have just over £6 million left, so we could potentially sign a young promising player for that much on deadline day, but that is probably all that we will do, albeit a couple of players are wanted by some clubs. If you just put this here into pick order, Nicolo Amadori wanted by Feyenoord and also Faliu Altay, so we'll see if they do come in for those guys in and around transfer deadline day, and maybe that extra £6 million might become useful after all. But we'll come back tomorrow, get stuck into deadline day off the back of those games against Bayern Munich and Hoffenheim in the Bundesliga. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
Thought I could do this, life through the sadness. Don't know how